Hi, this is Trev and welcome to my blog. Welcome to part 17 of my Bedford CA van restoration. Hope you guys are all alright. I'd just like to say, and you sir, thank you very much. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Andrew. Thanks Andrew, you're always a massive help. Thank you to Jeff Wood, thank you very much Jeff for all your help. Thank you very much to Julie and Steve of Biblin's Tea Garden in the heart of the Forest of Dean that have offered to help us with our environmental health concerns to do with baking cakes and running of the business. So I can't wait to meet up with you, Julie and Steve. Thank you very much. Looking forward to that. So anyway, part 17. Let's cut to the video. Well, here we go again. The van's back on its wooden blocks over the other side of the garage, ready to start the next phase of the project, which is to construct a framework that's going to support the awning. I'm also going to construct a framework for the shop front. And perfect timing, I've got a few days off work and the steel's just been delivered onto my driveway. I've ordered these various sizes of steel box section. 6 meters long. How could I possibly need 48 meters of steel to make this frame up? But I've worked it out. It's amazing how much metal you use once you start cutting it up and welding it. After spending a few weeks designing, cutting and welding, this is what I've come up with. This is my awning frame, and this larger framework at the back is my shop front, or will be explained in a moment. Now this shop front simply will hook onto the back of the catering box inside the van, and these poles will be able to be stowed away inside the van, no problem at all. When I first designed and built my side opening door, I put a lot of time and effort into building internal fittings into the door so that I could mount an awning frame to it, because I didn't want it looking somewhere in between a pop-up shop and a panel van whilst I was driving the van around. I didn't want some great structure hanging off the side of the van permanently. What I've ended up with is a bit of a compromise. I've got these two triangular shaped brackets mounted to the roof. This is pretty unavoidable really, but it's the best of both worlds. I don't think they look too imposing, and when the van's back on its wheels, they'll be even higher in the air and even more out of sight. So it's going to be a panel van like it is now, and then when we set it up it'll turn into a pop-up shop. Here is the awning rolled up, ready to be attached to those triangular shaped brackets, and then it'll be unrolled across the awning frame. Okay, so that's like the first time I've ever assembled it, and it's only taken a few minutes. I'm sure I can shave a little bit of time off that with some practice. Unfortunately, I can't show you the customer's perspective, their point of view, that they're going to see when they look at our shop front with this gorgeous scalloped edge along it, which I'm hoping it'll look like a nice old vintage shop. Because it's hard against the garage wall, so I can't get the camera around at a nice enough angle to show you. But it's dead smart. I love this fabric. I'll give you a quick view of what I can see from the outside. It's occurred to me that somebody watching this video might actually want to buy an awning for their own van. So the company that made the awning for me is called Pup Buddies Bespoke Vintage Awnings, and it's owned and run by a lady called Diane Quinney. Now Diane Quinney is an exceptionally warm, friendly, helpful lady. We thrashed it out between us the best way of attaching this awning to the van, and she's got lots of different ways of doing things. And we come up with the best solution between the two of us. And I basically gave her my dimensions, specifications, what I wanted. She ran it up in no time at all, and I couldn't be happy with it. So if you need to contact Diane, if you look at the video description, there should be a link there so that you can get hold of her. She's also on Facebook, so she's dead easy to get hold of, so don't delay, buy one today. Thank you very much, Diane, I'm chuffed to bits. I'll give you a quick explanation of my shop front and how it works, but you're going to have to use your imagination here. So this is my shop front. This is what the customer will approach, and on top of this shop front will be cake display cases. So I've got to mount cake display cases onto here as quickly as I can, and this has got to be packed in the van, flat packed as it is now, so it's nice and flat. If you had something like that stuck out the side, then it's just going to eat into the van. So this is why I've bought these. Now these are just click together shelving. Everybody recognises this kind of stuff. And the beauty of this is you can just, in seconds, click that together, and then a worktop will stand on top of these brackets, and then the cake display cases can stand on top of the worktop. Easy peasy. The problem is with this system is it's not designed for what I want to use it for, and if you need this bracket up in the air, for example, that's going to happen, and you're going to have your cake display cases on the floor, cakes everywhere. Not really a good start to the day. So what I've done is I've welded these eyelets on, so the bracket fits in there like that. Plug this pin through the eyelets, really quick job. That ain't going anywhere, is it? So that's why I've done that. So you can imagine these brackets all the way along, worktops on the top, display cases. It's going to look the business. And what I'm going to do around the front is I'm going to have waterproof fabric all the way around the front. It'll be velcroed onto here, so that'll go all the way across the front, and then down the sides we'll have a cord going across back to the van, basically making it into an enclosure. Coming back round to the side of the van, I've got something else to show you that I haven't showed you that I did a couple of months ago. I made these brackets. Now these brackets are going to extend the worktop out of the van out, so you've actually got some worktop, because there's double sinks this side, there's the coffee machine that side, the coffee machine comes right to the end of the worktop, so there's nowhere to make the coffee. So what I thought is, I'll make these worktops that just slot into sockets like this. Just take seconds to fit. There'll be a worktop on top of there, and the side of this metalwork's been extended out, and the reason I've done that is because our fabric front will reach around the sides. There'll be a cord running through the fabric with a hook and eye on the end of here, and that'll simply hook through there, which means that it will form a kiosk around us where enclosed, there's a barrier there. What I'm also intending to do is use these large weights. I'll strap these to this frame and that'll hold it down, just in case the wind was to take the awning, or if somebody was to inadvertently kick it or something. Oh my goodness! I think I got my first customer. Good morrow, sir. Can I help you?
Yes, could you draw me 2 fulsome frothing tankards of your very finest ale, please?
Sorry, sir. This is a tea shop, not a public house.
Oh, in that case, I'll have a can of Coke.
I can't.
Oh, in that case, I'll have a cup of tea and a biscuit, please.
Not a 3-course meal.
Oh, it's like the Fast Show, isn't it?
Yes, but without the laughs. Next thing I'm going to be getting on with, I can't believe this, this is the last of the big modifications, the big fabrication jobs. So I'm through with all this fabrication, well, not quite, but I'm through with the major fabrications and modifications, and I'm going to get back to the mechanical work. I've got lots to do. I've got a whole chassis that needs rubbing down, rear axle to be rebuilt, the prop shaft's made, the exhaust is made, the engine's mounted, the gearbox is mounted. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to mount a radiator, like I say, the chassis. I've got lots of things to do, and we can finally get this engine fired up and brakes working and everything else. This is what I'm back onto now. So it could be more interesting for some people now, and I'm dead keen, dead excited to get this van finished. It's been too long, really. It's been far too long, and we can't wait to get it finished. So that's going to be the next thing. I didn't really know quite where to start with this mechanical work, so what I've done is I've pulled all the floors out of the cab and looking around for things to finish off. Something I knew I had to finish off was the handbrake raising from the original chassis, because the gearbox has now got this tunnel, so it had been originally mounted down here, and I've put these stud extenders on. Remember these, Rory? Anyway, stud extenders up to the top of the gearbox tunnel so that the handbrake can go back on like that, stood on top of the tunnel. I've just drilled some holes in the tunnel, so let's see if it fits okay. There we go, all mounted now, very secure. Fortunately I drilled the holes in the right place. These nuts are a bit ugly, I think. I'll have to find something a little bit more vintage looking, paint them as well, body colour, and they'll blend in a bit better then, rather than Nylox. I've got the gear stick to modify, but I'm going to leave that till the van's finished. It's something I can do off the van that's not going to interfere. I've just noticed that the seat belt stalk hasn't got a thread attached, the same as this one. Also a location peg I need to weld in there as well, so I'll do that. I've just welded this bracket in, and this is a seat mounting support for the passenger side, something I was meaning to do and I hadn't done. And something else, I've just realised I need to weld this piece of steel in across the back of my gearbox tunnel frame. So I'll do this next. I'll do these jobs, finding little things all the time. Yeah, I'll get these done and then we'll have a look, see what else needs doing. I just found this old piece of floor that I removed all those months ago, and that's great because I can use this as a template to finish off the handbrake holes. I've also made a few more holes to secure down this tunnel to the frame underneath. I've finished off my seatbelt stalk anchorage. So what's next? I'm going to remove the panels, the water tank tray, this tunnel section, the driver's side floor. I'm going to get the frame up. I'm going to get everything exposed so I can crack on with the mechanical now. Okay, so here's a site I haven't seen for a long while. Couple of problems I've just come across, things I haven't finished off, and I really will have to finish these off before I progress any further, is I need to strengthen the rail around here, because I started to do it and then I stopped to build the gearbox tunnel. Also I need to strengthen it where the brake servo is going to go. Now all these jobs, they need finishing off and completing, because they are part of the chassis or the van floor. So anything that's permanently attached to the van, i.e. the chassis or the van floor, or anything that's welded to the van as a whole and can't be removed, I really do have to finish it off, because I want all the welding done, all the rubbing down done and everything completed, and then paint it nicely before I put all the mechanical components back together again, because I'm going to strip the whole thing out. The engine's going to come out, the gearbox is going to come out, everything's going to come off it, so that I can paint everything nicely. And this is why something that can be removed from the van doesn't necessarily have to be finished 100%. A big issue I've got at the moment is I've run out of space. I've got all my catering box as well, absolute masses of metalwork. I've got to find somewhere for this lot to go, and like I say, I've completely run out of space. So I'm going to do these repairs now, get these finished, and then I'm going to try and sort out where I'm going to put a lot of this stuff, because this stuff has got to be stripped out before I proceed, really. I can appreciate that you won't be able to understand from this image what's going on, but I've welded across the back where the gearbox comes out. There's the gearbox, look. So where I've had to cut that member across the back, I've put some box section in there which has strengthened that. I've also braced where the servo goes. I've cut this out, so I've braced this with some 4mm thick steel, and then this has been drilled through so I can bolt it securely to the floor pan. Well, that just frightened the life out of me and woke all the neighbours up. What is it they say in TV? Never work with children, animals or Bedford CA vans. Where was I? This, across the back of this floor pan, I've braced this with 18 gauge steel. This is incredibly strong now, because of course it's got the box that I welded in for the servo. So it's just like a series of box sections all welded together now. But this makes this lovely and strong. Also, another hole's appeared. I nearly did it again then, didn't I? Another hole's appeared which I've braced, and I'll explain what I've done there. We're looking at the passenger side. This would have been the original floor in the passenger side, which of course is gone now because I've made a new one up. And we've got the battery access hole. I'll just lift that out of the way. That's the old battery tray, and that would have been bolted to the chassis, like so. Well, I decided a long time ago, in fact when I was building the exhaust, what I need to do is I need to mount the battery on the driver's side, get it away from that exhaust, and also transfer more of the weight to the driver's side. Because I've got so much going on the passenger side, what with the engine and the catering conversion, and this is why the water tanks offset more towards the passenger side, driver's side, sorry, and the gas tanks on the driver's side. More of the seating's more on the driver's side, so it only makes sense. Get a battery as well on the driver's side. Try and counterbalance all that weight that's on the passenger side. Okay, so we're back on the driver's side now. What I've done is I've put the passenger side floor panel on top of the driver's side floor panel. I've just flipped it upside down to give us the reverse effect. I've scribed it out, and then I've used that as a template, cut it out. That's the panel fitting in there. The reason it's at an angle is so that it lines up perfectly with the chassis member underneath. So here we are again, we're looking at the original Bedford battery tray. I don't think this bit of Dexian shaving was part of the original spec, but it's the original tray. And what I'm going to do is, I've got the Focus donor car tray here, battery tray. It makes sense to me to bolt this somehow, although looking at the underside that's going to be a bit of a tricky operation, but somehow I've got to mount this to the old tray, and then I can mount my modern battery with its one bolt fixing. You know, this is the benefit of using the advanced parts. So I've got to make these two fit. I've got to make this fit the chassis, which should be a straightforward affair, just 4 holes to drill. Now I can bolt this to that, bolt the new tray to that, and I've got the hole ready, the access hole, so that's that little job done. Okay, so what we ended up with, one battery tray bolted in. You see the modifications that I've made to it. The idea, of course, is so that the plastic tray can sit on top of this new platform. The tray is bolted in on the normal Ford mountings, there, and there. And what I've done on this one is I've welded a plate to the nut. It's bolted from the other side. The reason I've done this is because I've gone and fitted this plastic tray. There's no way now of getting the battery out with the floor in. So I've done it like this so that I can undo 5 bolts and this whole assembly or drop down if I need to change the battery, rather than going to the trouble of taking all the floor out, which would be the only other way. There we go with the battery fitted. This is only a 50 amp scrap battery I've just got lying around. I'll probably put a 70 amp battery in it when I've finished, which will take up the entire tray. Let's see what it looks like with the floor in now. There we go, nice little access hatch. In hindsight, what I would have done if I do this again is scrap this door and make a door the same size as the battery. Then I could have just undone the door and unbolted the battery, 1 bolt, and it would have just come up through the door, but never mind. You live and learn. Maybe I'll do this on the next van I do. Yeah, okay. Right, take the hatch up. You can see it's a nice distance away. It's not too far away, and it's far away enough for the leads not to get tangled up too close to that floor, which I was a little bit worried about because it was quite high to start with. Because I raised the steel platform to take the plastic tray, I've dropped the steel platform down slightly to get some distance between the floor and the battery again. But you can see it's easily accessed. And you can also see that if I just made this door this much bigger, then I would have been able to wrestle the battery up through the hole, but never mind. Least of my worries, really. Well, that really is all we've got time for. Thank you very much for watching. Something that's occurred to me thinking out aloud here is I've approached a lot of jobs like from a manufacturer's mass-produced point of view, i.e. the battery door. Now, I know that it's probably going to take me an hour now to change the battery if I need to fit a new battery to this van, which seems a bit mad. But on the flip side of that, it would have probably taken me 2 days to manufacture a door and fit it into the floor. And there's no way I'm going to spend 2 days over the next 10 years or whatever fitting batteries to the van. So it's occurred to me that some jobs I need to sort of leave, you know, just give myself a more of a labour intensive maintenance operation rather than spending days or even weeks manufacturing things. I also thought that if you had an acoustic guitar, that it meant that you were a protest singer. Oh, I can smile about it now, but at the time it was terrible. No, 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 let me go. Anyway, bye for now. Let's see. Can I help you, sir?
Yes. Could you draw me 2 thruffing...
Can I help you, sir?
Yes. Could you draw me...
Right.
Yes.
Hang on, because I've got to say it first, don't I?
Oh.
Can I help you, sir?
Yes. Could you draw me 2 fulsome thruffing...